And I think many people
Yeah,
working in large companies viewed the CIO as king or queen of no.
yeah. I mean, it's funny how if you would have asked me 15 years ago, I would have said, CIO is one of the worst jobs because it's almost a no-win. The best case is that you don't hear hear their name, hear technology brought up, in the boardroom or in the C-suite, and it's shifted completely. We actually just did, and we could tweet out a link to this to the study. We just published a global CIO survey, and we basically found last year that there's three big archetypes of CIOs, and it lines up nicely to this idea of there's an operator which is focused on efficiency and driving the traditional things I think IT departments were asked to do. How do we get more reliable and predictable? How do we have better efficacy of spend, cost containment? So there's an operator archetype. There's a business co-creator archetype, which is more of how do we align with strategic initiatives and help drive real change. And then there's the change instigator, which is the one that's actually the catalyst for understanding the what, translating to the so what, and driving the imagine and deliver piece of it. And interestingly, it's a pretty equal mix. So we interviewed 1,200 CIOs. We find it's a pretty even mix between them all. When you ask them aspiration, it over-indexes toward the business co-creator and change instigator side. But the point of it is none of them are right or wrong. You've got to be the right CIO for your time and for your place. And we've seen over and over again, organizations that don't have that core operational discipline in place, it's really hard to elevate IT to anything other than, the GOAT, the list of grievances of why things take so long and aren't dependable and cost too much. But in that, I think there's this great realization that the CIO can evolve to these higher levels. It's not a seat at the table. It can be the one actually helping inform about the potential and helping spark the real investment. So there's no, we shift from 15 years ago, I would have said it's a really hard job and I wouldn't recommend kids getting into it. I think circa 2016, 17, actually one of the most exciting jobs that you can have if this influence of opportunities are realized the right way.
How can CIOs as well as organizations take advantage of this opportunity?
If technology is the heart of how change, all the change we've seen in front of us, and not only the full potential, but then as we dream about tomorrow, we have to get there from today. So as we talk about advanced technology adoption and transformation, a big part of that's still going to go through my existing data and systems, my people. I've got to find a way to unlock the foundation I have to make it more agile and more and let it be a contributing part, if not a really critical part of this journey of digital transformation. And so that requires me to get there from today. I need the mooring line. As I look to the stars and the moon, I have to have a mooring line that says, how do I understand the path there? And importantly, can I get back down again? And with that, enterprise class, when we say digital, it's really easy to say, let's do a one-off IoT prototype on an Arduino board, and we're going to play with some open source libraries and do something really interesting in a plant, in a facility, at a customer site, in a retail store. When you then say, okay, I'm going to actually sell that as a product, or I'm going to extend my core operations so that my supply chain or inventory management is dependent on that signal I'm getting from those solutions. Doing it enterprise class, with all the ilities. Mike, I don't know if you've ever heard the rattling of the ilities before. We could do the ballad of the ilities, right? Reliability and security and maintainability and scalability and flexibility and operability, interoperability. I mean, there's these things that we've held true inside tech for so long. We don't get a pass because we're suddenly in this digital realm that we have to think about those things. And so, for CIOs, first and foremost, technology is only more important than yesterday. It was vogue for a while. For some of the analysts said the CIO role will become the chief data center officer or the chief electricity officer. Where the technology, it's a utility that we just tap into, and that's true if you only think about the world from the lowest end of the operating stack. I think the opposite. It's design is more important than ever. Integration, bringing all these parts together is more important than ever. Architecture with an emphasis on utilities is more important than ever. Understanding what's coming next, the sensing, the scanning, the vetting, and bringing that to the business with an idea of what it means for your industry, for your company, for your business. All of those things I'd say are the most important things that any company could do and do well. And who better to do it than the CIO, where she or he owns that agenda and a lot of that knowledge today. But the flip side is what you're doing today isn't going to be enough. So one of the things that we're seeing is like what finance did 20 years ago, and like what the supply chain did 15 years ago, and like what sales did 10 years ago, the IT function itself is going through a transformation phase. And the irony that we didn't apply technology to the technology shop to practice our own craft is being fixed. And so there's this great confluence of autonomic platforms with virtualization and containerization and cloud and APIs, all these things coming together. Historically, a lot of CIOs kind of grew up through the infrastructure, through the application space. And so a lot of them had deep technology chops. And that's important. So the tech fluency and the tech IQ, by the way, it's not just important for the CIO and the IT department, it's increasingly important for the broader business. And we're seeing big companies invest to up the tech fluency or the tech savviness or the tech IQ of their organization at large. For the technology-minded CIO, part of the challenge is we have to understand how we can do things differently than how we've grown up and probably earned our title, earned the role because of this combination of new technologies and new ways to deliver the new technologies. And so we use a construct called right speed IT. Others have used bimodal or two-speed IT. But a part of that is to say, Agile is becoming the new norm and is probably a hybrid Agile because a lot of what you have to do on those legacy systems don't lend themselves to the same speed as the pure digital cloud development. So how do I balance but truly adopt Agile, which means a pretty significant change in my IT shop and how the business interacts with IT to deliver a project and program? It means I have to instill a culture of curiosity and a culture of learning in my shop and personally myself to stay relevant and credible. It means I have to invest in these tools, and I'll use DevOps as just an umbrella for a lot of things, but I need to be able to automate testing in a way that I probably can't do at scale today. I need to automate release management. And so it's less hands-on, manual labor on keyboards. I need to invest in autonomic processes to help IT run and help me free up my people to do more important things. And so this mix, and not just being the order taker when the business has decided to invest in a space, or even worse, the business decided to invest in a space and already contracted a vendor to do it. The CIO and the IT department should be the spark for the imagination and certainly should help drive the solution shaping of what the right collection of technologies should be in play. And then owning that whole deliver and run cycle, but doing it faster. And when we say right speed IT, sometimes my tagline or kicker is the only right speed is faster. But the idea that there's just two extremes and never the tween shall meet is fantasy that I've never found in the world, right? This hybrid model has to be in between.